Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'd like to open the May 8th, 2024 City of Springfield License Commission meeting at 5:30 p.m. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the Springfield Board of License Commissioners hearing held on Wednesday, April 24th, 2024. Did everyone have an opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any changes or corrections?
No.
No. Okay, then I make a motion to approve the minutes for the Springfield Board of License Commissioners hearing held on Wednesday, April 24th, 2024.
Second.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay. Next item is a petition for a change of location for 447 Sumner Inc., DBA Chestnut Street Package, located at 492 Bridge Street, from 492 Bridge Street to 572 St. James Avenue, Rasha Gori, manager of record. Who is here for 447 Sumner or Chestnut Package Store?
I am here, Attorney Seth Stratton for the petitioner.
Okay. Are you expecting anyone else?
No, I believe my client is on, but I'm prepared to make a presentation and answer any questions.
Okay. The floor is yours if you want to start with your presentation.
Thank you. Members of the commission, I'm here tonight on behalf of 447 Sumner. As mentioned, this is a transfer application. The petitioner currently has an all alcohol license on Bridge Street. The petitioner is looking to acquire the premises at 572 St. James Avenue and transfer the license to that premises. The application was submitted to the Office of Planning and Economic Development, who reviewed the proposed use. It should be in the materials in front of the commission, but the Office of Planning and Economic Development does not object to the use, indicated that it's appropriate on the site, and indicated that there is an appropriate parking plan. We then appeared before the Neighborhood Council, and there was quite a bit of discussion before the Neighborhood Council. Ultimately, the Neighborhood Council did not support having an all-alcohol license package store in the neighborhood. We believe, however, as presented in the materials submitted in connection with this application, that we addressed all four concerns. The four concerns that were noted at the Neighborhood Council were loitering, littering, safety of children, and saturation. I believe in the materials presented with the application, you'll see the various measures that the applicant has put in place, intends putting into place to address those concerns. In particular, with respect to the argument of saturation, we've included in the package provided to the commission a map indicating any saturation within the neighborhood, or lack thereof, frankly. There's only one other package store, and it's quite distant from the proposed use. There is a beer and wine license not too far from the proposed licensed premises. However, I believe, as the commission is aware, that for the purposes of saturation, comparing a wine and liquor versus all alcohol is not an appropriate comparison. Ironically, the one existing all alcohol license is directly across from a school, I believe the Rebecca Johnson School. This property is distant from any school. So we believe we've satisfactorily addressed the concerns raised by the neighborhood council. We then went to the planning board. In the planning board, we explained that we addressed the concerns just noted, but the planning board discussion really turned on whether the parking plan was appropriate based on some concerns raised by an abutter about easement access and access and egress from the property. Based on those concerns and some planning board concerns about how access and egress would work vis-a-vis the neighboring parcel. Subsequent to that meeting, we entered into an agreement with the abutter to acquire that parcel. There is an agreement in place contingent on this license being issued to acquire that parcel and therefore alleviate any concern. It would expand the parcel and address any concerns that the abutter had because they will no longer own the parcel. We believe that in doing so, we have addressed any and all concerns that were raised at the planning board level, which all related to access and egress. Therefore, we request the commission's support for this license transfer. The operator has a clean record at the current operation, intends to run a reputable and compliant business and seeks the support of the commission. I just want to come check my notes and make sure that I've covered all items. I believe there were some concerns raised about pending road construction project at the nearby Rotary by the city. We believe that that's a temporary issue that will not ultimately impact this, whether the premises is suitable for a license, and we're prepared to comply with any temporary traffic impact associated with that Rotary construction project. With that, I'm happy to address any questions that the commission may have.
Thank you. Any questions from the commissioners?
Seth, could you go over the parking thing again? I was at the planning board when the neighbor showed up and objected because he has an easement to get to the back of his building, which is to the right of this building, correct?
Correct.
All right, so how have you resolved that issue?
We're going to buy his property from him.
You're gonna buy the building next door?
Correct, and
Oh.
combine it with a parcel.
Well, okay. I'm looking at the neighborhood council's list of objections, and the planning board gets involved in parking issues. So historically, we have never been concerned ourselves with parking that's addressed at planning board. They're complaining about the traffic flow, and one of the considerations we can take into, when we're approving a transfer is the impact on traffic. And I believe what their point is that there's a median that goes down the middle of St. James Avenue, Seth, is that correct? And that if you are going north toward 291 and you want to make a purchase, you're going to have to somehow loop around this median and come back south.
Correct.
All right, so I don't know. If it were me and I had to do that, I would just go to another package store. So
Mr. Signatore, it reminds me of, you see it all the time. I don't know if you're familiar. There's a Starbucks on Boston Road in Springfield that's quite popular, and the same exact issue. And I go there frequently. And if you're coming up Boston Road, toward the Parker, you can't turn left. And when I'm craving a Starbucks, I drive down, turn around, and come back in. I think it's not it's not ideal, but it's my client petitioner. There's enough traffic flow there, and they believe it's a strong location, and are not concerned about the existing traffic arrangement.
When I saw that, now this is the package store on Chestnut at the Apremont Triangle that is moving to this location.
Right.
Correct. So I looked at the new location, and just when we think we have saturation all over the city, this is about the only location I've seen where there isn't actually another package store within a mile or so of this location. You know, it's just like, where can you put a package store there? There isn't already one adequately serving a neighborhood. And this, I called Phil Dromey and I said, well, where do you think the only package stores I can think of are, the nearest ones are at the center of Mason Square, like you said, across from Rebecca Johnson. And then the next nearest one, I think, is way up on St. James Avenue by Big Y. So I do not think that this is an oversaturation issue. They did visit, this applicant also owns the package store on Liberty Street, across the street from Springfield Plaza. And they did note that there are discarded nip bottles and litter about in that parking lot. So the only thing that we could use to deny the license would perhaps be the reputation of the applicant in his current location, but I don't think we have a strong argument there. And our major objections to locations of new package stores oversaturation, and that's not an issue here.
Thank you, Peter. Is there anyone from the community that has want to be heard?
Yes, this is John Leahy. I'm an attorney. I represent the abutter David Cortelli at 576 St. James Avenue. And I just wanted to confirm that we have an agreement with the petitioner to sell the property at 576 St. James. However, I would like to say, if for any reason, as there's a number of contingencies in the agreement, if the deal were to fall through for whatever reason, that we would still claim that the proposed parking plan violates the right of way that was deeded to Mr. Cortelli in his deed when he purchased the property back in 1984. And so, but again, we do have an agreement. If everything goes through and the property's purchased, there will be no issue from him as an abutter.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Anybody from the community that wants to be heard? No. Commissioners?
I know Peter brought this up about the parking and the egress and the entrance of this property. And I'm looking at it from an overhead shot. And I know the counselor mentioned Starbucks and all that good stuff, but there's other ways to getting into like Starbucks. But this, what I have, my concern is the medium that's in there looks like to be 3/4 of the length of the front part of the building. And the concern that I have, that according to the planning of the parking, the main entrance of parking going in is from the right side of the building. And if you park, you go in, kind of like around the building and to exit. My issue is people who want to go in are going to disregard going into the main entrance the right way and try to turn in where it's considered to be the exit. That's where I see the potential problem of traffic, potential head-on collisions. Whereas Or is there any thought to that at all? Counselor?
I mean, it's I understand what you're saying. I think we believe that the location works, and generally speaking, that motorists are going to obey traffic laws. We do now, I will say, with the acquisition of the neighboring parcel, we do now have more flexibility to potentially modify the parking plan. I think what we would do is open with the plan that's in place. If we notice that there are any traffic concerns, and we'll work closely with the city. If there are traffic concerns, we can modify. I mean, we can't move the location, but we can modify the flow on the property to address motorist behaviors and address any safety or traffic concerns as best we can through signage and a layout of the property. We obviously want it to be safe and accessible to as many visitors as possible. One of the reasons the petitioner is seeking this location is the current Bridge Street location does not have parking and has challenges for delivery of product. This is a much more suitable location, and so we will certainly comply with all traffic requirements and work closely with the city to ensure that our visitors are complying as best we can with traffic laws and not creating any unsafe traffic conditions.
Okay, so my other concern is now to enter this building, it will be directly in front, or are we gonna have a side entrance?
It'll be directly in front, but it's a kind of a side. It's on the front of the building, but it's a side entry, a side door at the front. Does that make sense?
So the current door that is there will stay there, and that will be the main entrance.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, I'm looking at that layout right now. My other concern that I have, being the traffic going towards 291, if they can't get over to reach the establishment by taking a left, I see a potential of them going into the business across the street, which is a gas station, Dunkin' Donuts, and a convenience store, parking there and walking across the street to basically a 2-lane traffic in each direction, which could potentially create some hazards to people looking to purchase. Am I wrong in that assessment?
It's a tough. I'm not sure I'm equipped. I mean, people will do. I wouldn't do that. I don't know what.
Would you do that for a Starbucks though?
Walk across the street? No. I'd rather be safe in my vehicle. But yeah, I mean, I think there are scenarios that if they became regular routine habit, could create some challenges and concerns. We're hopeful that motorists will be logical and follow traffic laws. So I'm not saying that could never happen. We don't expect it to. And I mean, if there are, I mean, there's also, operation like this is run by folks who will have regular customers. If they see behaviors that they believe create traffic concerns, they can address it directly with patrons. I think the short answer is we'll collaborate with the city and do our best to mitigate any inappropriate or unsafe behaviors that become habit, which we don't expect to happen.
You don't expect it because you claim yourself that you wouldn't do anything like that, but there's other people who will look at it differently and see the easy way to get over if it's difficult for them to get across the street. I am looking at it and there is a crosswalk at the corner, but I don't believe the person would go all the way to the corner, cross the crosswalk, make a walk up the length to get to the building. I think it's just something you guys need to be aware of and have some concern with that, because I like you, I am a Starbucks shopper myself, and I do visit that Boston Road one, and I tend to come in from the backside of it. But I agree with you, but I still see people doing that at the, like in the Boston Road, in the Starbucks, taking a left onto to get into Starbucks when they're not supposed to. So it's just something that I think it should be a concern by all parties on this situation.
The other thing too, I think we can look at the behavior of the businesses that are already there on that side. What are those customers doing? You can look at that behavior.
Yeah, I mean, I think currently the uses are not, probably don't have as, well, I shouldn't say that. The uses to the right probably don't, and the current use of this property does not have as regular a customer flow as this use may have. But to the left, there's I believe a barber shop. Hash, I see you're on. Go ahead.
Yeah, barber shop does get a lot of traffic. So, he has quite a few visitors. So between the parking on the right and some parking on the left, we should have enough parking and we should have enough space to get around.
I'm looking at, are you done, Johnny?
Yes.
Andrew, you done?
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at this question John had about the entrance. I'm looking at this Google Street View of the building, and there's a front door smack dab in the middle of the front of the building. Is that going to be the entrance?
No,
No.
the entrance, sorry to interrupt. The entrance will be on the right where there are parkings. Towards the front of towards the beginning of the building. That's where we are planning to create the entrance.
You're going to put an entrance there.
Yes, on the right side where
Okay.
there are parkings.
All right. Now, I hope I didn't make this up. I think I recalled this discussion at planning board of angling the entrances and the exit to this parking lot, so you can only enter if you're going south, and then exit going south, so that if somebody tried to come north and cross by the median, they would not be able to, because the exit to that parking lot is now angled going south. Did I hear that right or no?
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the proposal
Okay.
we put in.
Mm.
So yeah, so now, since we are buying the neighboring parcel, we will have a lot more real estate to play with and come up with the best parking so that people obey as much possible for the direction that we post on the, in the parking lot.
Well, I think Commissioner Ramirez's concern is people trying to cross into this parking lot just south of that median across the line of traffic coming south, and there being collisions there. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Johnny, but I think that's what you were getting at. And I could see that happening by looking at the GIS map. But I think after a few collisions there, you may have to fix the entrance to that side of that parking lot in order to avoid that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
Now,
agree.
they are creating a roundabout there, correct?
Yes, it's not going to
That's a
look
little-
like it looks at all now.
Right, so my
Mhm.
concern is that right now, because of the traffic lights, and you do have traffic that is sitting, so it may make it easier to cross. Once you have that roundabout there, traffic is just going to flow. No one's going to stop for anybody that wants.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it will be harder for people to cross anyway.
Well, that's our concern, you know, someone trying to cross to get to your store and, you know, the traffic not stopping for them and, you know, having an accident.
Mhm. Well, I don't know how to deter that, but no, we can post some signs and that's the best we can come up with.
Okay, any other questions? Anybody from the community that has come in last? No? Okay. Okay, so at this point, is there a motion? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the petition for a change of location for 447 Sumner Inc., DBA Chestnut Street Package, located at 492 Bridge Street from 492 Bridge to 572 St. James Avenue, Rasha Gori, Manager of Record. Is there a second? Okay. Attorney Bonavita?
Yeah, we should have a second, even if it's just for the purpose of voting. So you take a, either a positive or negative vote. Otherwise, you're leaving it open totally to speculation. There's nothing wrong with seconding a motion. You still have the ability to vote no.
Second,
Thank you. Attorney K, Attorney K, Commissioner Kane,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes,
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio,
yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
No.
Commissioner Espinosa, no. Okay, the yes have it. So, I believe that it's it on our end.
Thank you, Commissioners,
you.
for your time this evening.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is an informational hearing for Graham's Package Store, Inc., DBA Graham's Package Store, located at 1649, 1651 Main Street, Richard Laffey, Junior Manager of Records, status of the liquor license. Is there anybody here for Graham's? I think I saw someone. Richard?
Julie's here.
Julie.
Yeah. Attorney Dialesi.
Graham's Package? We can't hear you. Oh, there you are.
Yes, I
Okay.
believe she's there.
Is it under Darcy, you said? Oh, Julie.
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 Okay. I think she's trying to come back in. Maybe she's having problems. Just let me allow her in. Julie, can you hear us? You are muted if you can hear us. Julie?
It's 6 o'clock.
No. Okay, should we go ahead and move on to the next and just give her time to come back on?
Yeah.
Okay, next item is Our Lady of the Mount Carmel Society, Inc., DBA Our Lady of the Mount Carmel Society, located at 13-15 Winthrop Street, Francis Magnoli, Manager of Record, status of liquor license, and Manager of Record. Who is here for Our Lady of Mount Carmel?
Somebody waving their hand,
Your name?
muted.
You're muted, sir. We can't hear you.
He's off.
He's off.
Yep.
Okay,
Technical difficulties.
Julie's back though.
Oh, Julie's back.
right. Hi, Julie.
Can you still know?
Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to Graham's Package Store, and then we'll come back to Our Lady afterwards. Welcome,
Okay.
Julie.
Thank you. My apologies. I was trying to get back in and for whatever reason, I was unable to click the video and the mute, so I apologize.
You're here today because we need to know what the status of the liquor license and the manager record is for Graham's Package Store.
Thank you. Manager of record is Richard Laffley. He is logged in. You can see him on the screen. As I discussed with Attorney Bonavita this afternoon, there have been some staffing issues at Graham's. One of our staff members had a heart attack. He was in hospital, surgical procedure. He's been out for several weeks. One of my other full-time members also had some issues. He was dealing with some medical issues relative to a cancer diagnosis. So we've had some staffing issues which have derailed us from our normal business operational hours. My expectation is that by the beginning of June, I will either have the staffing issues resolved. I'm interviewing some folks to bring back in order for us to deal with the staffing issues. I'm also working with, and I'm sure the majority of the folks here understand that my landlord is Herbie Flores. And so we are having some issues in terms of dealing with New England farm workers who under Mr. Flores owns that building. So we are dealing with those issues as well. So I would anticipate by June 1, we would be back online between staffing and dealing with our issues with the landlord, or alternatively, I will be dealing with potentially relocating the license. But at this point right now, that's what we're dealing with. So.
Is the store open for business right now?
The store is open. It is not our normal full-time hours, simply just because I don't have staff. And from a safety perspective, I have check cashing in that location as well. So I don't have my normal operational hours, and it was unexpected based on the medical issues that took place. My two full-time staff people, one is John Dialesi, and the other is Michael Izzo. Both of them have had a significant medical event, which were unanticipated. And so my part-time folks have been doing their best to shuttle back and forth in terms of those hours. But based on the staffing demands of the location and my concerns about wanting to have two people in the location as opposed to just one, Richard, who's the manager, he's on premises, but I can't have him in there alone for obvious safety issues relative to the other functions that go on in that location.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners?
Well, I was told last week that the package store has essentially been closed since January, which came as a very big surprise to me. So I walked down there at lunchtime and I looked through the windows, and there is absolutely no merchandise on the shelves whatsoever.
So
And looking through the locked door, a neighbor walked by and said, "Oh, they closed months ago." And I said, "They are closed?" And she said, "They're only open a few hours in the morning for check cashing." So
that's not closed. And we are.
explain why there is no inventory in your store.
I have limited inventory, Mr. Signator.
What do you have? Couldn't see anything.
Well, there's limited inventory. We are still selling nips. We are still selling beer. We are still selling bottles. We are still selling, but we do not carry a full inventory. It is part of my decision as a business decision. If I'm going to relocate that store, which is still my option, that I have the ability to do so with limited inventory, that I do not need to then relocate that inventory. So I'm not telling you anything that's not clear and unequivocally true and accurate based on the operational needs of the business. But I'm not going to spend the money necessary to fully stock that store if my expectation is to relocate the store. As I just indicated, I do not believe that Mr. Flores is going to continue that building and own that building. I've been contacted by the person who has the purchase and sale agreement. And so if I have to relocate that store, I do not want to have to liquidate inventory, nor do I want to have to relocate a significant amount of inventory.
So you're not aware that they closed last week and Herbie Flores is no longer your landlord?
I'm well aware as to what the status of that building is, and I've had communications with the potential, or well, at the time, the potential owner, now the new owner.
Boy. How many hours a day are you open?
It varies. It varies.
Well, actually, if
Varies.
you're not open your established hours, you're supposed to notify the commission that you are on a reduced schedule and what your hours are, and you haven't done that.
I
So
agree.
it varies.
I recognize that.
Schedule.
Well,
Well, if you don't recognize that, why didn't you do that?
because the disruption to the business was not anticipated, and the expectation is that the issue will be resolved. So that's where we're going. My expectation is I'm going to resolve the issue relative to staffing, and I will be able to notify the commission as to the regular standard hours.
When?
So as I indicated, my conversation today with Attorney Bonavita is that I would anticipate by the end of this month, I will have the staffing issue resolved. So if the commission is asking me to give you my hours right now, I would say we're working at approximately 4 to 6 hours a day.
What are those hours?
So they are open at 9 and they've been closing at 1. They've been opening at 8. They've been closing at 2. So there have been varying different hours based on the ability of Mr. Izzo, Mr. Laughley, and Mr. Dialessi to be able to staff the business. But that has not been since January.
Okay, so you're open 9 to 1 with inventory.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions from the commissioners? No. Okay. Attorney Bonavita, being that this was an informational hearing, I believe that there is no motion that needs to happen, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, thank you for the explanation, and I do hope, now you said you will be fully staffed by the end of this month, May.
That is
Because-
I'm sorry, Ms. Espinoza, I did not mean to cut you off. I apologize.
It's okay. Because you said, yeah, by June, by the end of June, but now you say May. So by the end of May, you will be completely staffed and hopefully opened your
Correct.
regular hours.
That's the expectation. We are in the process of attempting to find appropriate staff in order to move that forward.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time, and we hope to see you soon, and let us know what you're doing moving forward.
Thank you. And I will be in contact with the commission through council without a doubt.
Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is Offsite 222 LLC, DBA Offsite 222, located at 222 Worthington Street. Rashad Ali, manager of record, and this is also status on the license.
I think we have Mark Carmel next.
Oh, I did skip it. I'm sorry. Yes. Next item is Our Lady of Mount Carmel Society, Inc., DBA Our Lady of Mount Carmel Society, located at 13-15 Winthrop Street. Francis B. Magnoli, manager of record. This is status of license and manager of record.
Mr.
Mount Carmel-
Magnoli is in the oncology unit. He doesn't have too much longer to live. He's undergoing intensive cancer treatments at this time. I'm the vice president on record. This is from the Secretary of State website. I'm sorry you can't see it. If I can unblur this.
What is it, sir? Maybe you can explain to us what it is.
It's the actual officers. The list of our actual corporation on the Secretary of State website.
Okay.
That property was illegally taken over. We are not on site conducting business. The liquor license is being used illegally at this time. And all proper authorities have been notified. They kind of made it known what they were doing. Nobody had to call anybody and tell what was going on. It's pretty much in the media that we were illegally taken over. So nobody on site is on this paperwork from the Secretary of State. So nobody actually representing the corporation is on site right now. Not one person that took over the establishment is a actual member. None of them have a membership card that was signed by either Mr. Magnoli or myself within the past 8 to 10 years. Those individuals haven't been on the property or members. So I'm a little confused as to how this all transpired.
Who are you again?
John Rodier,
And you, what is your role?
I'm the vice president. If you go on the Secretary of State website, you can see that my term ends in November of 2025. So this was initially to the authorities. They had some piece of paper that they were showing the authorities as to the reasons why they could be on the premises, which is falsified because not one of those people are current members. If they were a member, this would be an internal conflict. Then it could have been proceeded with a meeting. I was never notified of any meetings or any change of any kind of administrations. We were taken over in the middle of the afternoon. It was on videotape. The locks were changed by non-members. And that's where we're at right now. Nobody in that establishment is on record under the liquor license. And the ABCC task force had been notified in Boston. In the middle of all this, we had a huge data and identity theft breach on mine, my wife's emails, cell phones, tablets. Everything was taken over. Our passwords were changed. My Ring camera system was shut off at my residence. So this goes way beyond the Mount Carmel Society.
Okay, so are they open right now? Whoever this
As
other,
far as I know, they are open. As far as I know, they have a bartender working. As far as I know, they are honoring parties
okay.
to the best of
So,
my knowledge. I have not gone on site because I'm not getting in any type of conflict that could result in myself in any way being jeopardized or my freedom be jeopardized or my safety and well-being.
okay. And
Because I guess Stephanie Barry pretty much identified what's going on Mass Live.
Okay.
That's pretty accurate to my knowledge.
okay. Sir, when was it you said that they took over?
Oh, this was God, I don't have the exact date. I have all these dates and everything written down.
Okay,
It's been
In the last
I
month,
think-
it's been 2 months.
2 months.
okay,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to know. I was just wondering if you had renewed the license. Did it happen after you renewed the license? The
Oh,
liquor
the
license.
license, yes, the liquor, everything was renewed. Everything
Okay.
was absolutely, everything was up to date as far as taxes, as far as the liquor license, the entertainment license. Mayor Sarno was also notified that the entertainment license is also something that needs to be looked into because again, we're not on site. And I also at this time I kept the liquor license insurance policy intact in case something were to happen. Mr. Magnoli isn't personally held accountable for anything that happens. So I do want to, at some point cancel that.
If Mr. Maganelli is in such dire health, you need a new manager of record. Are you going to
That's correct. And the new manager of record, when he falls ill in the bylaws, that responsibility goes on to the vice president, in which at the time that members would make a vote, which not one person, as I said, has been a member of that Mount Carmel Society that I've seen or heard of on that property, including Mr. Salser Costa. He has nothing to do with the Mount Carmel Society.
Madam Chair, whenever you feel appropriate, I'd like to address something.
How many
Sure.
active members do you have?
There's 5 active members. They're old men. They come in the morning and pretty much just hang around for a short period of time.
That's it? 5 members?
Everybody walked away. They all went to the Dante Club. Nobody wanted to be members anymore. So most of the Italian population moved on, in which there's maybe 10% of those left at the Dante Club. They walked away. They didn't want to renew their dues. None of them paid dues for at least 10 years. Like I said, in order for them to become members again, they would have to fill out an application, in which then they would get a membership card after they pay their dues. None of these individuals have those things, and if they do, they're falsified. And I'm sure something's going on, because some sort of paperwork has been shown to the authorities to allow this to have gone this far, which is despicable.
Attorney Bonavita?
Yes, we reached Mr. Rodier last week. After we knew it was on Mass Live. But before the end of last week, we received, and I think it's included in your package, a entire package allegedly from the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Society. It does say it's from them, but it looks like Salvatore Sacosta sent this in as president of Our Lady of Mount Carmel Society. And they only use the word alleged because there's evidently there's 2 factions here. And
There's one corporation.
And this they have minutes of a special meeting. They've elected officers. They even went as far as submitting with the state of Massachusetts, at least that we have a business entity summary with all the officers.
Wow.
Let me just finish this, John, and then you can address it.
I didn't know I was stuck.
Various people are named. We have a check for $200. There's been a typed out amendment change. Change of manager. So we have this application. We haven't acted on it yet because it just was handed in, I believe, last week. And I think the commission is going to have to decide. I mean, at this point in time, I believe we have to investigate this a little bit further. To see what exactly is going on here, but it seems like it doesn't seem, it is a competing interest situation where there's 2 different factions saying that they represent the club. I don't like to see the commission, frankly, get involved in between something like this. But at some point, I think we're gonna have to decide what to do with this application. So I just want to point that out. I think we'd have to, in the legal department of the license commission, we'd have to get together and review this entire matter to see if there's any action we think we should take appropriately, or the two groups would have to somehow resolve this, whether it be by some type of action or whatever. And I'm talking about, various things that they could do between themselves to try to resolve it. So I just want to point that out to the commission. I don't know what they have any further questions, or they just want us to investigate this further. It's going to
I would
be,
love that.
because someone filled out Mr. Sarcosta, I believe, filled out all this information.
I'm sure he did, and like I said, I'm speaking the truth here. I'm one guy against whoever they claim they are. So, look at it how you guys want. This was not ethical. This was not legal. I've been involved with that club since 1997. I've been an active member for well over 20 years. Devoted member, and donated much of my time and my own monies at some points to keep that place going. And the last time, in the last administration, I walked out carrying a box with a few things in it, no liquor, bills to the state, to all waste. But you wouldn't believe that we had to clear up just to get this place going again. And now, in a moment of weakness, they felt entitled to go in under fraudulent paperwork, because it is fraudulent. And this paperwork that I'm sorry you can't see, but if you go on the Secretary of State of Massachusetts, you'll see, in order, Frank Magnoli, President, John Rodier, Vice President, and I do have the bylaws. I'm very well versed with the bylaws to the Mount Carmel Society. Sorry, I have laryngitis. I'm trying to get over, but I spoke the truth to everybody that's asked me what's going on, and I'm speaking the truth to you. And all of their paperwork is falsified. There's not one legal member that has come forward claiming to be a faction or whoever they are. That's just not the way. Under state law, there's state laws that protect this in private clubs and corporations, but also the bylaws to the Mount Carmel Society totally go against everything that has been done here. So at the very least, I'd like to see the liquor license suspended, pending investigation, and the place, locked. Because
right, we're going to have to investigate. From my standpoint, to the commission, I think we're going to have to investigate this further. They did produce records from Secretary of State's office showing the new parties, the officers,
well,
president,
that can only be
treasurer,
done
clerk.
if they have a password and a PIN to the actual corporation. So that there's an actual password and PIN to go on and change. So if my information's been changed on this, that's also something that needs to be looked into.
Right, and I think just like Attorney Bonavita said, we will have to investigate before we can make a decision as to what to do
Sure.
with the license.
Do you have an attorney?
We do. And because of our data breach, all of our interactions with our attorney and a lot of other individuals with this case, we hadn't received anything for 2 weeks from our attorneys until I got a track phone and started, following up these things. Emails, phone calls, and text messages were blocked to and from my devices, which seems, outlandish and far-fetched maybe to you guys, but it's the reality that my wife and I are going through right now. And all of her medical information for her lupus and everything she's dealing with right now for her disability, all that was stolen as well. So there's some intimidation things that have been going on here that aren't going to work with me. So I'm going to see this through to the end.
Who is
to
your
make sure-
attorney?
I can have him reach out to you. Who are you?
Well, you can't tell us who it is?
I'm not going to say on this right now. No,
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I would need to know
yes.
who your
That's
attorney is.
fine.
I didn't want to cut you off, Peter.
No, you need to
I was
contact.
gonna
you need
ask
to
the same
contact
question.
Attorney Bonavita.
this
Yeah.
this device that I'm on right now is one of the devices that's has the issues with it. So I will gladly call from my other phone after this meeting.
Okay, yeah, let me know.
Yes.
You have my number. Call me
Yes.
tomorrow. Let me know who your
I will.
attorney is, please.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I don't know what, if anything, we can do about this as a commission until we sit down and have some discussions. And, we have one party saying they're it, another party saying another.
Okay.
You both, I also would ask you to please either you forward it or have your attorney forward me that that document that you have in your hand that we really can't see too well from here. On the computer,
Is that
but
the former list of officers from the Secretary of State's website? Is that what you're showing us?
Former, this list was this list was active as far as I know up until today. I
Today?
haven't changed it.
No, because I checked and all those new people are there today. Did you look today?
No, sir, I haven't.
Oh, all right. So I looked in anticipation of this meeting and it's a whole new slate of officers there.
that's what I was referring to.
So that's what you're talking about,
Yeah.
John, the
Okay.
Secretary of State's list of officers for the corporation.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, well, that's different now. And we have it in our records. We have it in, we have whatever the officers were, the latest ones that we approved, those are in our files, so we certainly have that.
That just boggles my mind how somebody could obtain those things. But I also just heard that maybe Frank did sign some paperwork I wasn't aware of before, because I probably wouldn't have gone to this extent had I known he was signing or cooperating with other individuals with this matter.
Frank Magagnoli,
Yes,
is he an officer?
he's the president.
Oh, he's the president. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
he's not. He hasn't died yet. He's he's in the hospital right now.
There was a senior and a junior, is that correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And are they both still with us or no?
Yes. Yes.
Who is the one who is ill?
Frank Senior.
I thought Frank Junior was the manager of record. No?
No. He was the vice president the
Oh,
last term.
okay.
Yes. He is still he was still on.
Is Frank Junior still an active member or is he over at the Dante Club?
No, he is not an active member as of
No.
today.
So he's not he's not an active member, but he's still your vice president?
No, he's not. I'm the vice president.
Oh, you are.
He-
Okay.
Yes, the last term he isn't a member anymore.
Did you file that change with the license
No,
commission?
absolutely.
So
All
you
those
are,
changes.
all right, so you are the vice president on the record with the
On
license.
record.
Okay. Wow.
Yes,
Just when,
that's
just when you think I've 21 years, just when I think I've seen everything, I've never seen anything like this. So I don't know how Anthony is going to unravel that, but
Well, it's a tall order, but we're gonna try.
okay.
Like I said, I really can't say there's one party saying that they have the club you're saying that it's not proper. And we're gonna have to, we just can't do it in 15 minutes. We're gonna have to
No,
sit down.
absolutely.
We're gonna
The
have
club-
to sit down and hash through this. I'd ask you to send me any documentation. You can send it to the License Commission. Any call there, you get the email address, whatever you'd like to do, drop it off. Send in any information you have. We already have the information of the parties that say they now are in control and legally operating the club. So we need
Okay.
your information also. We'll look into it and then have to decide what, if anything, we think we can do.
Sure.
But I think your attorney is going to have to also speak to us as soon as possible to let us know some things, some information. Okay?
Thank
That's
you.
all I can add, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much.
So
Well,
if
Thank
they're,
you.
if they're open, they need a manager of record though, right?
Yeah.
So.
Correct.
And.
And they need to have tip certified and serve safe certified bartenders as well.
So
Just-
according to you, the bylaws state that if the manager of record disappears, you are the acting manager of record. Is that what you told us?
Correct, until there's an actual meeting with real members. But that got changed. So
Just, okay. So if the club is open for an event and there is a violation on there, I don't know who the manager of record would.
it goes on to, well, if it's
Okay.
not Frank Magnoli anymore, but the
No?
problem is the liquor license hasn't been approved. Whoever's on it now, as the manager of record, to my knowledge, hasn't been approved yet by Boston or by you guys.
You're talking about this new application that was just submitted?
Correct. So if they're doing business now, who are they under?
Anthony, do you know this
Well,
application?
they have names here in the application. The amendment, one of them is amendment for change of manager.
Oh,
There is a
alright.
party named,
Oh, all
or
right.
proposed manager, but you're asking, has there anything been changed previous to this application? Is that what you're saying,
Well,
Peter?
well, Frank is, I think Frank is the
Right.
manager of record as far as we're concerned, and we're told he's in dire state of health.
Right.
So
Right.
John is saying that the bylaws state that if the manager of
Mhm.
record no longer able to function, the vice president is the acting manager of record until a new one is appointed. And
That may be by their
John is
bylaw.
not at the premises because these new people are there. So
So they may be without a manager right now,
yes, wow.
But this application was received, the check is dated May 6th. So this has just happened.
That's
Oh,
happening.
Monday. All right.
Yeah.
Well, they knew something I don't know how to do this. This boggles my mind.
Anthony, do they have an attorney? The new,
I'm looking for that and I don't. Give me a second here. Oh, wait a minute. Is Judy Cross on the line, Madam Chair?
I
I'm
don't see
sorry?
her.
Judith Cross?
I don't see her.
No,
No.
no.
Yeah.
There's someone on iPhone, but I don't know who that is.
All right, I think we're gonna have to contact her. They're maintaining that she represents them.
Oh, all right.
Hmm.
So,
I had a trespass order for Sal Circosta as well, which is crazy. We submitted trespass orders. We did everything legally we were supposed to do. And, here we are.
that's with the police department? You said?
Yeah, Springfield
Oh.
Police Department. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like the license office has some investigating to do and will definitely then take it from there. But we want to
you.
thank you for your time and the information that you've given us.
I appreciate you guys.
Okay. Thank you. You have a good evening.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Next item is Offsite 222 LLC, DBA Offsite 222, located at 222 Worthington Street. Rashada, lead manager of record. This is on status of the license.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, so what is, sir, what is the status of the license for 222, Offsite 222?
I'm sorry. I've been in contact with the health department and I'm just awaiting them to do a inspection, and my renewal paperwork and everything was submitted already.
Okay, we do have, I believe I saw a letter from the health department. They've been trying to get in contact with you and have not been able to.
Yeah, so my business opens at 5 p.m. We primarily open at night. So they maybe haven't tried to come by during the day, but no letter or anything was left. So I was not aware of that until as of recent.
She said she showed up at 5:15 and stayed till 5:30 and knocked on the door and nobody answered. That's what-
Yeah, I'm not aware of that. It might have been a day we were closed.
And then she
on
left her
Tuesday.
card and nobody called her.
No, I didn't receive anything. As soon as I was informed about it, I immediately reached out to them, which was last Friday. And then I also followed up on Monday, with when I spoke with one of the inspectors, and they said that they would be arranging a reinspection for renewal.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I talked to Mr. Rashid Ali it was this afternoon actually, but
Right.
we talked, and my understanding is he has called the health department recently. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Was that today or yesterday? When was that?
No, it was Friday. The first time I attempted to reconnect with them was on Friday. I didn't hear anything back, so I followed up on Monday, which when I spoke with, I forgot the gentleman's name. He then forwarded me to Samantha, and then that's when they told me they'd be scheduling the reinspection for renewal.
As I explained to Rashid last time we spoke, that the common vicular license can't be approved until we get the health department inspection done. And then that's approved. And then we can get the common vicular license, which is, I believe he's applied for, but it can't be
Correct.
approved until that's done. One of the concerns that the licensing commission had, he did give me some explanations in our last conversation, was which rooms he was exactly using on the premises with the BYOB license. And I'm just going to say what you told me, and then you can correct me if I'm wrong. You said that you're using 222 and 224. Am I correct?
Correct.
And that there's a kitchen in 222.
There's a kitchen in 220. So there's
220.
There's 4 different parcels within this building location. I am at least owned 3 of those. Another one is a separate business adjacent.
That's Dewey's?
Correct.
Okay. So the 3 that you have.
Yes.
Give me those numbers again.
220, 222, and 224.
Okay.
224 is above.
Upstairs?
Correct.
Okay.
Which is
The upstairs you're not utilizing right now.
No, not at all.
You still have construction work to do up there?
Yes.
So it's not being
at all whatsoever. I have construction work, and then the building inspector needs to come in, check everything.
Now, where were the stairs? I was told there was paper on windows. Where was that?
I have curtains, but there's no paper.
No paper?
No.
Okay.
So all the paper that was on those windows have been removed, and
Correct,
you have
yes.
curtains. Okay, when did
Yes.
that happen?
Oh, that happened months ago. As soon as I was aware of that being an issue, I immediately took them down. But they were only up because we were doing construction and we fully weren't open. But once we had finished everything in here as far as the dining and seating, then those were removed once I figured out it was an issue. But I was not aware that that was an issue.
Well, technically, it had been used even with the paper on the windows because
Yes.
you were holding events
Yes.
there with that cardboard or something on the windows.
Yeah, it was just paper that the construction team had put up just to get work done in here throughout the day. But once I was made aware that that was not acceptable, I immediately removed that.
Okay. Any other questions from the commissioners?
What is the goal here? This is going to be a restaurant where people can walk in, sit down, and bring their own alcohol. Is that correct?
For the time being, yes. My overall long-term goal is to create a lounge space, primarily based on just food in itself, but I didn't want to focus on liquor or alcohol. That's just too big of an issue down here currently and has been in the past. So I didn't want to deal with the alcohol aspect at all. So I was just in the meeting with you guys, I think a couple weeks back about the BYOB regulations that we went over. So.
Any other questions from the commissioners? No. Attorney Bonavita? Anything else?
No, thank
Okay. Okay, so I guess once you have well, come in contact with the health department, inspection and so on, and you know what the next step is. So we'll look forward to hearing from you at that point.
Okay, definitely. Should I forward everything once I connect with them, forward everything to Attorney Bonavia?
To the License Commission, yes.
Oh, license. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, next item on the agenda is a pre-hearing conference for Harmony Lodge, number 140 IBOE, DBA Harmony Lodge, number 140 IBOE, located at 73-75 Wilbraham Road, Dorian Barrow, K. Barrows, Manager of Record. This is for an incident on March 22nd, 2024, allowing non-members. I think I saw Mr. Barrows.
Yes. At that time, we did allow non-members. Normally we have people come in and they sign the book and they're introduced by another member and they're signed in. On this particular night, they were just there with somebody that hadn't been there before. Nobody knew him. I'm not gonna say that we were wrong, but I'm not gonna use this as an excuse. I'll say is that the bar down the street closed and we were getting an overflux of people and we let them in. And this person came in, he was bothering people, he happened to touch somebody, and that's what happened. He touched somebody in the wrong way and her boyfriend got upset and attacked him.
So this is not something that happens all the time. You don't just allow a big crowd to come in,
No.
non-members, I should say.
At times, if we're having an event, yes, but everybody does sign in.
Okay. Did everyone sign in on that day?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. How many people do you think you had there?
At that time, maybe 25.
Okay.
I have it on video. I can give you an exact number if you need it. But I'm gonna say probably about 25 at the most.
Were the majority non-members?
No, the majority was non-members, yes.
Ooh. Okay. How'd that work out?
As
How'd that work out for you? Not too
not
good.
well.
No.
Not good. I've been a member for 48 years and nothing like this has ever happened.
Okay.
No, I never, there has never been a violation that I can recall at Harmony Lodge until
Right.
this. I was shocked to see this even on the agenda.
Yeah.
So you know
Keith-
that only members are allowed and guests can only be brought in by a member. And if the member leaves, the guest must leave with that member.
Got it.
Okay. So I hope you learned your lesson. on
Most
this- on
definitely,
this little experiment.
yes.
Right, right.
So Keith,
So-
I just got one comment. Keith,
Go ahead,
you,
go ahead,
that
of course.
that the bar down the street had closed. It's still closed, I understand. So, but are you
Yes, it is.
still, even though they might come in with non-members, there are some individuals or people that you might not want in your club.
Well, we
So-
have, in the meantime, we put on security.
Okay, that's what I
Okay.
was gonna ask. You have
Yes.
somebody at the door.
We put in security since then.
Okay.
Okay, that was gonna be my next question, if you had taken any, measures to
Yes,
make
we have.
sure this doesn't happen again.
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
What
great.
is,
We have
what is
security.
this bar down the street that closed?
Yeah, big boys,
It was-
big boys.
Closed?
They're closed temporarily. We
Oh.
talked to the manager of record, last week, I think.
Oh,
Right,
Claudette.
they have some major,
Yeah,
renovation,
renovations.
repairs, right?
okay.
I'm not using that as an excuse to, I'm taking all the blame for this because it was our fault for letting other people in. But, I believe that was part of the problem.
Okay, well, just like, Peter mentioned, as long as you learned your lesson and,
Yes.
and make some changes so that this doesn't happen again.
Most definitely.
Right. Okay, any other questions from the commissioners?
No,
No, okay, well, thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item is discussion of ABCC advisory regarding amendments to add outdoor alcohol beverage table service areas. Attorney Bonavita?
Yes, obviously, it was sent out to the entire commission. I don't intend on taking too much of your time. It's something new that obviously we all know just happened. We became aware of it when the chairperson, notified us, and I think someone questioned you about it.
Correct.
And, I was notified of it. I think that was on April 30th or May 1st. And I called the ABCC. I spoke to one of their employees, Mr. Walsh, and he said there was an advisory. They were working on it that day. On May 1st, they would get it out to us, and you could see it stated May 1st. So we received it. We've read through it. All of you obviously can read it. It is a change. It's giving authority to the local license commission concerning any alterations to outdoor all alcoholic beverage table service areas. It also goes into other details. You could call it takeout cocktails. Some people refer to it as that. But the local commission, there's a certification form that has to be filled out. The LLA certification form, specific transaction categories. The ABCC is not relinquishing the ability to come in and get involved in these matters, but a lot of it is now done through the local enforcement authority, the local commissions. I think most importantly is to look at that form and then also look at the advisory itself. There's about 8 different referrals. Mixed drink must be combined on the licensed premises. Mixed drink shall not be sold to a person under 21. Any delivery of mixed drinks for off-premises consumption shall not be made without verification. The person receiving the order has attained age of 21. The mixed drink must be sold in a sealed container. The mixed drink must be sold as part of the same transaction, which is the takeout purchase of food, and any order includes a mixed drink must be placed not later than the hour of which the establishment is licensed to sell alcohol, or 12:30 or no, sorry, 12 a.m., whichever is earlier. They go on to define right below what a mixed drink is, what a sealed container is. There's language in there. And so there has to be food served with the transaction. A customer is limited to 64 fluid ounces of mixed drinks per transaction, consistent with number 5. Number 7 is the most unique one that I've seen. If the mixed drink is in a sealed container is to be transported by a motor vehicle, either by delivery or pickup. So if the party purchasing the meals and mixed drink either picks it up or it's delivered to them, the driver of the motor vehicle must transport the mixed drink in the trunk of the motor vehicle. That surprised me. And or the area that's not considered a passenger area as defined by section 224I of chapter 90. I looked that up. The passenger area either is a trunk or an area behind the last seating area, which I believe would refer to like a hatchback or an SUV, and the glove compartment. Now, if you have a locked glove compartment and you can fit it in there and lock it, that would be considered a non-passenger area, which I was also surprised at. I don't know what drink you fit in my glove compartment, but
Shot glass.
then it says the volume of distilled spirits, cordials, liquors, wines, malt beverages, and mixers contained in the mixed drink must be of the same proportion and same price as observed on premises. It then goes on to describe that this does not allow the sale of wine or malt beverages for off-premise consumption. And unless the wine or malt beverage is part of a mixed drink that contains distilled spirits, cordials, liqueurs, and mixers. The example of a on-premises license cannot sell bottles or cans of beer or wine for off-premises consumption, but licenses cannot sell beer and wine. Well, licenses can sell beer or wine if it's mixed drink. So if it's contained within the mixed drink, it can be sold, but it can't be by bottles of either one. And it would have to contain distilled spirits, cordials, or liqueurs. There's other, I think a lot of this, we're going to be getting further advisories over a period of time, because there's going to be questions that come up on some of these matters. I would not be shocked. On-premises license for sale alcohol, it says delivers mixed drinks must be owned or leased by the establishment or its employees, must obtain a transportation permit. So if it's if the party that delivers is an employee, they're going to have a transportation permit for each vehicle for delivery of mixed drinks. Now, I don't know how this is going to apply. Is what if one of the issues I think we've talked about in the office? What if DoorDash or somebody else like that is delivering food? They allowed to deliver alcohol. It says pickup or delivery, but I think there's going to be further advisories concerning that type of matter. I don't see how they could differentiate having a transportation permit, allow somebody else to deliver alcohol, but that remains to be seen. I could be interpreting that incorrectly because this is all brand new, and we don't know how it's going to be interpreted to be enforced. It also could affect open container violations and things like that. Even though it has to be in a sealed container. Obviously, we all could see situations where somebody pops the seal, but it's supposed to be in a trunk or a glove compartment or a non-passenger area. So I think there's more to be heard on this, and we will hear more as time goes on, as they run into various situations. But that's what we have thus far. So I don't know if anyone else has any questions.
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure, go right ahead.
It seems like a lot of the information I read through there, and it seems to be very ambiguous. However, they were talking about the outdoor dining being contiguous with the indoor dining.
Yes.
And then they indicated later on that that can, I mean, you had to see the outdoor dining if you're inside. But then they go on to say that it could be non-contiguous if you had enough staff.
It must be contiguous, but if it's not contiguous,
right,
which is it? Does it have to be contiguous or not contiguous? You're exactly right, Andrew. I saw that too.
So those are things, I mean, that's probably not all of them. I mean, there may be other interpretation issues as time goes on, but you're correct. You're correct with that. I mean, it is what it is. And we're all trying to interpret it in the right way, you know.
Way back when we first started doing this outdoor dining thing, I think our first one was at Luva, which is down next to the Hippodrome, and they wanted to dine out right outside on the sidewalk, and the ABCC said it must be contiguous with the premises. The public cannot be walking through the service area. So how now they're licensing the street, and the public is passing on the sidewalk in front of the business. So how is that contiguous? If the public is allowed to walk in between the licensed premise and this dining area out in the street, there's a public way in between there. It doesn't make any sense to me, but that's the way it reads.
Right.
Like I don't think we've seen the last advisory. I mean, I think they're going to run into it like any law. Really, it happens all the time. Anything that's passed, as time goes on, things get changed and modified and clarified. So I would expect to hear more.
When the Elks on Tiffany Street were told that they had to have a separate seasonal license for their pavilion because it wasn't contiguous to the building, but it was all on the Elks property.
Yeah.
But they still needed a separate license because there were people walking in between the Elks building and the pavilion. But it was all still Elks property. That made no sense to me either, but it doesn't seem like they uniformly apply this contiguous rule.
Right.
One thing I noticed with these to-go rules, I was a little shocked at number 6. So you have to buy food. This rule says you have to buy a food item. What is a food item? Could that be an egg roll or an order of fries? That's a food item. And with that food item, according to rule number 6, the customer is limited to 64 ounces. That's a half gallon.
Right.
So I could go and buy an appetizer and a half a gallon of martinis and walk out of there. Does that make any sense? I mean, that's a lot of alcohol. That's a lot of beer, never mind a lot of spirits. That read it like 3 times. It's like, it does say 64 ounces. That's a half a gallon. That's bizarre.
I think, Peter, the other problem, out of the phone calls that I've been getting regularly is that people, what about when they're sitting at a table and they're not done with their drink, and now they're asking for a to-go container so they can take it, but their idea of a to-go container is more of a sippy cup. the lid where you can put
Yeah.
the straw and,
Yeah.
and go. So there's a lot,
Mm.
and some of these owners are getting, yelled at and, name it, because, you have some of the consumers, or customers that are saying, no, this is my drink. I paid for it. I'm ready to leave. And I saw something on the news that says that I can take my drink with me.
You can't, no,
Yeah, that's not,
the guidance, no, can't do
It's
no.
that,
This doesn't
exactly.
apply to that, no.
Exactly, which is what I explained, but people do interpret what they want,
Of
the way
course,
they
yeah.
want it.
Mm.
So this is going to be a headache for
Mm.
for owners,
Yep.
because you do have people that think they know it all and they want that drink to go,
I think with the wine, there's a rule where if you buy a bottle of wine
mhm.
and you only drink a glass or two, the restaurant can seal that bottle of wine for you. It has to go into a special seal and a Ziploc bag, and you can take that with you,
Right.
but not. I'm half finished with my 7 and 7 here, and I want to put it in a sippy cup to go drink in the car. That's not a thing.
Right.
No.
Got a question too, to anybody, basically. Will we have any kind of guidance on what we are going to approve and what we're not going to approve?
Attorney Bonavita?
Well, I mean, as far as, the service areas and things
As
like
far
that.
as establishments, when they come in
Please.
to apply.
Well, I mean, they've laid out this form that has to be filled up. But if you're talking about specifically for the establishments,
Yeah, the establishments.
I think we're gonna have to go by what we're given. And there's gonna have to be more guidance this time. And they say that inside this package that we were sent, that there'll be more guidance given, and if we can call them if we have any questions. So if any business contacts anyone and has specific questions that we can't, for some reason, get a correct interpretation of, we can contact the ABCC and their officers down there to see where we should do change things or not change things. I mean, you read some of these and you just know that it's open to interpretation. When they have the definition of the sealed container, and that first sheet that lists 1 through 5, and it explains a sealed container, talks about a seal that's put over the top of it if there's a straw hole and things like that.
Right.
So I can just see a lot of questions. Referring to what you were talking about, if you look at it on the contiguous to the license building, it says you have to have a direct view of the outdoor area from inside the premises.
Yep.
And then it goes down, and you were 100% correct. And then it goes down to number 5, the second paragraph of number 5. For non-contiguous outdoor alcoholic beverage service areas, the licensee must have an adequate number of employees. So why did they even mention non-contiguous?
Right.
That's the question. It's the way it's worded and subject to interpretation. In the meantime, we're probably going to be, I would expect, to be inundated with questions.
Yeah.
If I was running an establishment, I would be asking a lot of questions, so I didn't do anything wrong. I know one thing we were talking about in the legal department. I mean, you would assume that if you own an establishment, you heard this on the news or whatever, you would be looking this bill up and this legislation up to get all the information. We were talking about, should we notify anybody that has a license like this of these, regulations, this advisory? We were talking about trying to complete, and the problem is some emails are not up to date. So we're talking about trying to create a master list of all the establishments. How long that's going to take, I don't know. But we are talking about that in the office.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that information. Any other questions? We can move on? Okay, good. The next item on the agenda is, Palati Inc., DBA Palate at 810 Tembley. I know that Attorney Johnson had requested to continue, to the next, meeting. And I believe they have already, they have an agreement, but not everything has been ironed out, if I'm correct, Attorney Bonavita?
Well, I think they've got. Yes, there's an agreement. I don't know if I don't think the landlord has signed it yet. Because there's some financial aspects that still are unresolved
Aye.
between the parties. And mostly the seller has some that's what my understanding is, that there's still some financial aspects that have to be resolved before the landlord is going to sign the lease. If the lease has been negotiated, I think everybody, from what I understand, they agree to the language, except for that problem. I don't think the landlord wants to sign it until the financial aspects are straightened out.
Right. Okay, I think, and I failed to notice that iPhone de Luis may be Luis from La Taquería. Luis, si Luis me escucha.
Hello? There we go.
Hi, are you Luis from La Taquería del Pueblo?
No, yo soy la persona que le voy a ayudarle a él con la licencia. Y él me dio para meterme aquí, pero no se ha metido todavía él, no sé.
Oh, ok, pues desafortunadamente le quería dejar saber que el abogado de él pidió que le extendiéramos hasta el 22 de mayo.
Hasta el 22 de mayo para él poder firmar el list.
No, no para firmar el list, no tiene que ver nada de list, para venir al frente de nosotros. No tenían que participar de esta reunión, sino participar en mayo 22.
El mayo 22 que esté metido aquí mismito en la cámara.
Correcto.
Ok, ¿a qué hora? 5:30 también.
5:30.
Ok, bueno, pues yo se lo diré.
Ok, gracias, buenas noches.
Muchas gracias. Ok.
So he is a person that was going to help Luis, from the owner of La Taqueria, but apparently he wasn't told about the request for the continuance. So he's been here an hour and a half, waiting his turn. So I did inform him that May 22nd would be the day. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Next item
You're
is.
gonna make a motion to continue?
Yes, sir. I make a motion to continue Palati Inc., DBA Palati at 810 Temby Road, Jose Hernandez, manager of record, for letting La Taqueria del Pueblo Bar and Restaurant operate and purchase liquor with Palati's liquor license. The lease is fully executed, it says. So this has been continued to May 22nd, 2024. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay. Next item is the administrative review of incidents. And this is a report for All American Bar Grill and Patio. Did everyone have an opportunity to read the incident?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
No. I mean, I did read that Kenny did call the police, requested, so I believe he did what he did. I make a motion to take no action.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
and Commissioner Ramirez.
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa. Okay. I think that is all for today.
I have a question. Attorney Bonavita, did you have a chance to call the ABCC about the transfer of the X room? I sent you I
No,
sent you an email. Did you get my email?
no, gee, I don't recall getting that.
Oh,
I'll check tomorrow morning.
all right. Do you remember when the X room, the X room transferred out of the Mardi Gras building over to Center Stage last August? And they've still been waiting for approval of that transfer. And of course, they're not going to do it until they want to buy the building, and they're not going to buy the building unless they're sure that they have a liquor license approved in that location. So
Okay,
they've tried calling the ABCC and they just said somebody's working on it and they don't get any
you know
answer.
how long ago it was approved?
Last August.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
When
That's-
did you email me? Just so I can check.
Last week, I think.
Okay.
I emailed your Springfield City Hall address. Is that
Okay.
send it?
No, that's fine. That's fine. I just, I checked them, and as of yesterday and the day before, I don't think I saw it, but maybe I missed it. It's possible.
May 1st.
May 1st. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I will check it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Follow up on it. Let you know.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, then I think we're clear to make a motion to adjourn at 7:12 p.m. Is there a second?
Second?
Commissioner Kane,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio.
Yes, and I love your shirt, Peter.
Today, if you want to see the full thing, today was Crazy Hat Day at City Hall. So we went, I found this hat. Hold on.
In the meantime,
In the meantime, Commissioner Ramirez,
yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. You walked around all day like that?
Well, I walked down to get my picture taken in HR.
Nice.
So
Ah,
we're full flamingoed out today.
Very nice.
So we're
Nice,
waiting to see who won the contest.
nice.
Oh, yes.
I hope you do, Peter.
It's a very
You
hot
deserve it.
hat. I could not wear this for very long. My head was. Oh, I had a flamingo shirt too to go with it. So.
You were
And flamingo
matching.
socks. I have flamingo socks too.
You went all out.
Oh yeah, gotta win that prize, whatever it is.
all right.
All right, well, thank you,
Happy
everyone. Have a
Mother's
good
Day.
night.
Happy Mother's Day, ladies.
Oh,
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day, Maria.
Yes, you too, Rosa.
Thank you. All right, good night, everyone.
Good
All right,
night.
take care.
All right.